What up, Titans? This is Old Titans. I'm Titan Matt, and this is B-Man Titan.
What's going on in here?
I'm just doing the show.
You were gone a long time, man. I needed a replacement. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
He signed me
stay.
to a 2-year deal. I'm not going
actually.
anywhere.
Okay, you can stay. But I don't believe this. All right, now this really is the Old Titans. And this really is an old Titan versus that young whippersnapper that you heard just a moment ago. This is John Paul.
The co-creator, executive producer, writer, editor, sound chief, the one and only B-Man.
Oh,
That was shorter than last time, I think.
wow.
I panicked.
Oh, okay.
And I'm hard at work, Matt. I didn't realize
Just-
he was so
Just
important.
that, yeah, he's the
I
the
am.
be all end all of.
I'm the nearest
Hosts.
Targaryen of...
I feel like I should have came up with a bunch of meaningless titles before I came home.
Oh, I have a bunch actually saved up. I knew you wanted to be here. And
Yeah, man, I
we
appreciate
needed
you
to-
having me on.
You're saving some time there so you could.
Exactly. We have a lot to talk about today, so yeah, we're good.
All right, well, let's get right into it with the B-Man question of the week from last time.
I just forgot. Oh, I remember now. Okay. If you were cast as a superhero, do you have a timeline of how long you want to be that hero? You have
Alright.
like interested to be like 1 or 2 movies, 10 movies, 10 years?
Like, am I trying to preserve my career and
Yeah.
not get typecast, all those kind of things?
Correct.
And I can pick whichever hero it is. It's
Right.
not like being.
Yeah.
I'm cast as, I don't know, Darkhawk or something weird like that.
Dark
It's-
Hawk is great, by the way. But
Yeah,
that's
I'm
alright.
just I'm picking something that
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know if anybody really wants to be that for the rest of their lives.
I
but
don't even know what that is.
It's
so-
a Marvel character that.
During the 90s, they came up with these bunch of characters they kept releasing, and he was one of them.
Actually, the only reason I thought of it is Comic Book Men this past week. They were talking about buying multiple #1 issues of different things, and one of them was one of the crew there that works at the Secret Stash had never got into buying multiple copies. He just always bought the one copy of whatever he's buying, and finally Kevin Smith convinced him he should start buying multiple #1s, and the first one he did was Darkhawk, and then they all laugh at him and.
Or did they release it recently, or no?
No, this is back in the '90s, and
Okay.
it was just one of those bad investment choices.
That was actually a good comic back in the day, though. They went
okay.
Anyways,
Yeah.
So go on with the thing. Yes.
All right, so as long as I could choose who I was cast as and somebody I'd like, sort of a Superman or Blue Beetle, elongated man, I don't care, a character I care something about. I'm giving you opportunities to make fun of me.
I'm
there.
not.
Just,
I-
okay,
I
good.
enjoy all that. That's
Okay,
fine.
good. That's good. I'd want to be that forever. I'd want to go down in history as the face, the voice. You say the name of that character, and you immediately picture me forever and ever.
Okay.
That's what I'd want. Kind of like for me, I hear the word Superman, I think of George Reeves. Even though multiple people have played him, I picture George Reeves. So that's what I'd want.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If I could be the Robert Downey Jr. of Moon Knight, yes, that's what I want to do. That.
And Moon Knight would be great too. Just the fact that he hasn't been done yet,
Yeah, so like,
and he should be done by now. He really should.
yeah, so I would be totally into that. Let me be that until I die.
Until you die.
Not because that would be weird. But until I decide that
Moon
I'm
Knight
too
has
old
died
to
a
do
few
those
times
stops.
actually. So
That's true. But yeah, I'd be super into that.
I'm right with you guys. I'm in it to the end. I can't think of any hero I would look like, but if I look like one, I would probably say
Mr. Fantastic.
no.
Or Doctor Strange. Either one.
Yeah, I
No.
mean, you'd kill those roles.
No, I wouldn't kill those roles. I mean, I'd think more Spider-Man or something like that, or Batman.
No, Mr.
My-
Fantastic. Did you mean Uncle Ben just now when you said Spider-Man?
No, I didn't mean Uncle. No. Anyways, yes, I'm all in for the rest of my life. That's it.
Now, of course, we say that, and then that first movie comes out, and it's trash, and you realize it's trash, and you're like, ugh, can
Yes.
I get out of this contract, please?
Yes, forever Shaq will be known as Steel, right? Forget about all his basketball or anything else.
Sure, there you go.
Shaq is Steel for the rest of his life.
Well, I don't really have that career in front of me right now. I'm the B-man on a podcast that like 30 people listen to.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we're okay.
That's actually 30 more people than Saul Steele, so you're
Okay.
solid.
You're
Don't worry
probably
about it.
right.
Somebody in Shaq's family saw Steel.
That's true.
Did you see Steel, John Paul?
I saw 5 minutes of Steel.
Okay.
Just so I could say I've seen 5 minutes of Steel. That's,
I flipped through it on my remote control one day, and
Okay.
it was on cable.
Man, that's rough.
it's really
That's rough.
I've heard.
okay. That's not one we have to even question. Does it hold up? It never held
It
up.
never held up.
So we don't have to worry about that one. All right, so we should probably move on. Let's get into the news just a little bit here. Does anybody want to do a little news?
No. Oh, God.
There we go. See, one of these days, I got you into the dancing part. One of these days, we get you into the
Maybe.
Yeah,
probably
okay. So into the news a little bit. I'm a little more balanced today. It's not all DC news.
not. That's crazy.
It really is. It starts with Wolverine, everyone's favorite short, adamantium-laced dead person who is back, I guess.
It's also Canadian.
And Canadian, yeah.
Yes.
So with Marvel Legacy #1, he's back, but he's not back in his own book. Marvel is doing post-credit scenes now in a lot of their comics. They say key, I'm doing air quotes here, not that anybody can see me do air quotes, but, you know, I'm doing that. But whatever key issues are, certain key issues in Marvel Comics will have post-credit scenes mimicking the, you know, things we've seen in the movies. And they're going to do an ongoing Wolverine saga of why he has an Infinity Stone, what's his secret, and such, leading to some bigger mystery. So, I don't know if anybody
Hooray!
cares.
So how did he come back alive?
I don't know.
There's an Infinity Stone.
Okay.
I don't know how he died either, so...
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Secret Wars, a lot of things happened. I was confused.
Yeah, he's been dead for like 4 years, though. Except during that 4 years, we had Old Man Logan from an alternate timeline, so it's not like he was really gone.
He just wasn't wearing yellow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he was just old.
Just old.
Just old guy.
And somewhere he's out there pretending to be P.T. Barnum for a musical, but that's a whole other thing. I don't know. That trailer actually looked pretty good. So that's
I'll
fine.
go with that.
Okay. Second bit of news, much shorter. It is DC. Doomsday Clock. This is the follow-up to Rebirth from Jeff Johns and the first direct sequel to Watchmen. So Jeff Johns, Gary Frank have been working hard on this, and issue #1 comes out tomorrow.
Alan Moore totally not involved.
Totally not involved. I would love, honestly, not jokes aside, I would love if Alan Moore would read it and give his honest opinion. Put all emotion aside, and what does he really think of it? I mean, I don't know if it's going to be good or not. I haven't
never
read
read
it
it.
yet. But he won't ever read it. No, he won't. But it's from the early reviews, it's supposed to be fantastic. And they're putting all the care into it that Alan Moore put into the original. So we'll see.
I think this is the book that I'm most excited for that I will never read. I've just been so out of reading comics recently, but that is one where I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool though. Like I wanna know, but
Yeah.
I'll never read
You
it.
don't read comics anymore, now, or
I mean, so I'm one of those people who still picks up books and I just don't read them. I'm so far behind, I can't justify.
That's
starting
happened to me,
something
yeah.
else. So, yeah.
okay.
All right, makes sense. Back to Marvel, the Captain Marvel, the Marvel version of Captain Marvel, and really the second or third or fourth or fifth, I don't even know where she lands, version of Captain Marvel, because it's not the one who died, and I don't know. Captain Marvel name is so screwed up because of all the differences between Fawcett and then DC and then Marvel and back and
Captain
forth.
Marvel and
Yeah, and all that. But the current Captain Marvel, being played by, you mentioned it
Brie
earlier,
Larson.
Brie Larson.
Yeah.
That movie is going to be leading into Avengers 4, from what early reports are saying.
Which is interesting because that's set in the 90s, right? Like,
I don't know.
I believe the Captain Marvel movie is actually set back in the 90s. It's got Nick Fury in it again. He's got both eyes.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, both eyes, but for whatever reason, that will lead into that movie. So, going to be some trickery there or something going on.
Time travel involved?
Yeah, who knows?
I mean,
So-
it's not like they don't do time travel in these things.
Is the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury a different one?
No, it's regular Nick. Well, I guess not regular. It's Nick Fury from Marvel now, which is Samuel L. Jackson,
Gotcha.
which is
Okay.
from Avengers. He's got both eyes, and they're scrolls. So
That would be really cool is if they do as a time travel thing, and they have the current people travel back in time to that time. And anytime they're doing those time travel, they always kind of have those weird images flash up, and people's kind of the screen kind of warps. You do that. Wayne's World. Weird warps on the screen, all that kind of stuff. While the screen is warping, have a morph between David Hasselhoff's face and Samuel L. Jackson's face.
Yeah, let's not
going
acknowledge that
on.
movie. I was joking around with that.
It'd be kind of cool though to do
That
something
was
like
really
that.
bad.
It was. It was.
That was Steel level bad.
No, I think it was actually better than Steel.
Did you both finish the movie?
I did not finish
No,
it.
no.
Oh, so not enough better to finish it, but better.
No.
Got it.
Another bit of news. I think I've mentioned before that DC is doing their own streaming service next year. Marvel will be following it up. I guess technically it's Disney following it up in 2019 with their own streaming service with Marvel and Star Wars and all that. But in 2018, DC is doing one that is DC specific. The first two series are the third season of Young Justice, and the live-action Titans, which have been a whole lot of casting news, which is cool. The third series has finally been announced, Harley Quinn animated series, with Margot Robbie doing the voice. 26 episodes. Unfortunately, Paul Dini's not involved in it, which would make it absolutely perfect if Paul Dini was involved. That just...
For the Disney one, did they announce any new Star Wars show coming out? Do you know of?
There's a rumored live-action Star Wars show.
No kidding.
But there's been a rumored live-action Star Wars
That
show
was supposed
since
to be
the
an HBO
early
years
90s.
ago, yeah. So, okay.
So who knows what ends up happening with that? I mean, it's just one of those things. Two more bits of DC news. The last one will lead into our main topic for today, so maybe we don't count it as news, so I'm completely balanced
Okay.
here.
Nice.
Next Monday, the 27th, I believe that is, whatever the day is, I think it's the 27th, begins the 4-part DC crossover on the CW. Four of them. Supergirl, followed by Arrow on a special night, followed by the next night Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, wrapping it all up. Crisis on Earth X, as our intrepid heroes are attending the wedding of Barry and Iris. And as always happens with superhero weddings, it gets interrupted, wouldn't you know it, by Nazis. Superhero Nazis from Earth X.
Nazis drive me crazy.
Yeah, Nazis. Why did it have to be Nazis?
Did they actually combine the worlds yet, Supergirl, or is she
No.
still in different worlds?
They just travel back and forth.
So she happened to just come for the wedding?
I'm assuming she's just coming for the wedding.
Okay.
That's an
Now,
assumption.
one more piece of news. I'm guessing I just talked to you yesterday about this.
Okay.
This blows my mind. You tell us the most random DC garbage out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
It feels a little
the-
strong.
the Batman animated movie, Gotham by Gaslight,
yes,
is coming
yes.
to DVD.
It is. I was trying to stay balanced today, and I had other stuff.
But you read Gotham by Gaslight?
No.
Batman versus Jack the Ripper, Elseworld story. I thought it was fantastic back in the day.
It's okay. I just wasn't a huge
Okay.
fan
It
of
sounds cool.
It is cool. Well, I'm glad you said it's okay because as a review, let's go to Justice League.
it. All right, so Justice League opened this past weekend.
Yes.
It opened to a $96 million opening, which is no way around it. That's a disappointment. And it is weird. Either you or Nick Hard at Work Nick, one of y'all said, it's weird to say on opening weekend making $96 million is disappointing.
Yeah.
It sounds weird to say that if you rewind, a decade or so.
Well,
but
especially since Thor just came out, and Thor's not really the bigger name of these
Yeah.
characters, and Thor made, 30 million more, I think?
And what's even weirder, we were talking before either one of them came out. We made a prediction. Thor is being predicted to make right at 100,
Right,
and I predicted 120,
Right.
and it made 122 opening weekend.
right.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good prognosticator there. You know,
Remember what I said.
You were guessing somewhere between 110 and 130.
Okay.
I don't think you
That's
had
a,
an exact
that's a big
number.
window, though, so
It's-
not
it's-
as
it's
impressive.
50,000 and
No, but you were agreeing that it was
Yeah.
it was more. You just weren't sure exactly where it'd fall. So we were both right on track.
Okay.
And I was predicting Justice League would be 150 or more, which Batman vs Superman was 165.
Now I said it'd be less.
Yeah, I think you said less, but Batman vs Superman was 165. Suicide Squad was 135, I think.
Okay.
I think somewhere in that
That sounds about
general
right.
vicinity. Wonder Woman was 103. So, in any other universe, in any other world, if you throw these heroes on screen together, there's no way they don't make a whole lot more money.
Yeah, you're looking at Avengers numbers,
Yeah.
200 million.
To some degree, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy with everybody for months and months or years talking about, Zack Snyder, it's going to be horrible, split directors, it's going to be terrible, Rotten Tomatoes score, look how bad it is. Yeah, but nobody's seen it yet. Doesn't matter, look what the score is, and
No,
that
see,
kind of
hold on a
stuff.
second. I'm going to back you off on that one for a second. Rotten Tomatoes didn't release their numbers until the day it came out.
But the morning that it came out, yeah.
No, people already had the tickets at that point. People already decided whether they were going to see it or not that weekend.
Well, people like me, definitely.
Most people-
But there's a lot of people who don't go buy their tickets early. They just go. and-
Most people pretty much knew by the weekend plans if they were going to see them or not that week. So
I didn't
don't
see
think-
it till Sunday.
That's when
You saw it-
What day we see it? We saw it
Saturday.
Okay.
You had already seen
I
it
saw
once,
it
right?
Thursday and Saturday.
Okay.
So, I mean, we both saw the reviews, still went and saw it.
I saw. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, the main reason I saw it is the fact that, he's been through some stuff. I wanted to hang out with him a little bit, and I heard it was kid friendly, so I could take my daughter to see this.
A real
So
quick aside, was I correct that it was kid friendly?
It was kid friendly. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, some parts were, I could see her jumping in some parts. There's going to be spoilers in this.
Yes.
Just
Spoiler
to-
alert.
Yeah, plenty of them.
Tune out now if you
But
don't
yeah, I
want to
mean,
know.
it was kid friendly. My 6-year-old saw it, and my 6-year-old really enjoyed it. So, I mean, yeah, you're right there.
Okay,
Between
good.
all of them, it's kid-friendly.
I really was. I mean, I told you that I would have taken either of my boys to see it,
Right.
but I didn't want to just say absolutely take her. I mean, it was, but I thought it was okay. Outside of a couple of parademons jumping out at you scenes,
Right. And that was fine. I mean, she jumped back once, I think. I actually jumped back once myself.
I think the trailer for the silent movie was scarier.
The trailer for the Silent movie looked
Yeah,
super
that looked awesome. I was like,
I'm
man,
looking forward to that one.
look at that.
We talked about that a little bit after, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that movie.
All right, so in general, we got Rotten Tomatoes that came out with a 39% score, I think it was,
Right.
something like that. Cinema, I think Cinema Score or Cinema Blend, Cinema something or other. They actually poll people as they come out of movies and get their ratings A to F. You know, they're allowed to do pluses and minuses or whatever in there. And on Saturday, it was tracking at a B plus.
Okay.
Based on people who are, this is no reviewers, this is just people as they walk out of the theater, he was tracking at a B plus. To me, that's a much more realistic number than the 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, that's 39% is a serious F. I mean, that's
Yeah, oh yeah.
that's way down below F.
That's summer score right there, yeah.
That's Steel level. I mean, that's
Now, Steel's like, I think 8%, something like that. But
actually, I'm surprised Steel got 8.
I mean, you're right. I'll double check that.
Yeah, we're just really ragging on Steel today.
That's a bad movie, man.
But I think the B plus is more accurate one. But what did y'all think? Just kind of general thoughts, enjoyment versus how, you know, there's definitely going to be issues with the cutting and production stuff because of everything that happened during that. But just general enjoyment.
As an overall grade, I'm sticking to, you know, we get out the movie and you look right away, so it's decent. I won't put any higher than that, it's decent. To me, this is a definition of a C movie. Not bad. I don't regret seeing it. I enjoyed many parts of this movie.
Yeah.
I had a lot of negative parts of this movie as well, but it was C.
Okay.
It was a solid C movie.
But
I would say this movie, if I have to give a letter grade, I refuse, and instead I will give it a 6 out of 10. Which is still failing, but that's like average. I don't think I hated it, but I didn't particularly like it either. It was
okay.
decent,
Yeah, that's
as
exactly-
B-Man said. It was decent.
I'm going the 6 out of 10 as well. I mean, it wasn't horrible. You know, before we talked, I was going to see this movie. I saw it for other reasons, and when I saw it, I'm like, I didn't hate it. I thought I was going to hate it. Batman v Superman, I really hated. Suicide Squad, I was very disappointed in. But Wonder Woman was good. So,
Yeah, I think everybody agrees across the board Wonder Woman is still the best of the DC movies.
Right.
I don't think anybody anywhere disagrees on that.
and there's some parts I really enjoyed, but overall, it was clunky. It was very clunky at times, and there was a lot of parts I did have problems with.
So, for the record, I've thought about it more since we talked because I was having a hard time nailing it down. Overall, just across the board, I'd probably give it the same B plus that the general audiences are doing.
Okay.
Kind of like with Thor, I'm torn. With Thor, the Thor story was great. I loved the core story in Thor. Thought it was the best one, and if you could strip out all the comedy and just look at just the core story of Thor, one of the best Marvel movies, I think. But once you add in the full movie, all the ad-lib stuff, all the comedy and everything else they did in Thor, I hated what they did there. So I was very, very torn on Thor that way. On this one, the core story I enjoyed. Is it like Casablanca, Citizen Kane level story? No. I think I compared it the day after I saw it, before you'd seen it. I think I compared it to like one of the animated episodes.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did. We talked about it, yes.
story wise, I think it holds up to an animated episode.
Right.
That's okay with me. I loved the animated series, so
It was good,
the story
yeah.
was fine. The characters all were very believable as characters, except for one I'll come back to. But the characters are very believable. Did a good job acting. The effects were good. I enjoyed all of that stuff. The way it was put together between the two directors and having to basically Josh try to salvage something out of the Snyder stuff. In some places, he couldn't do more than just have a rough cut between scenes, and there was some
And it
rough
did feel
spots.
that way, yeah.
For the first half hour, maybe slightly over half hour, it was a little rough. But after that, I was into the story both times. Both times I saw it, that stuff went away. But both times, that first half hour, a little bit more.
And
It was rough.
I totally agree with you there. As it got going, I enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of rough parts.
So
And
those are the parts that pull it down for me from being
Right.
an A. Just enjoyment of the characters and the story would be higher, but that stuff did definitely pull it down to a B plus for me.
So as far as, before we get into the review itself, as far as ensemble pieces,
Yeah.
I'm talking about Marvel pieces versus DC. I'm talking Avengers 1, Avengers 2. I know you didn't see Guardians 2 yet. Or probably ever see Guardians 2.
Saw Guardians 1.
And Captain
There's
Civil
Defenders
War.
on TV.
Right.
Sorry, there was a face just made. Sorry.
Defenders was rough. That was a rough.
I didn't finish Defenders.
I
so-
did
I'm
not
just-
enjoy that
I'm
at
just
all.
following along with the
So, like, how would you rate Justice League compared to... Like, give us a rough order. In your opinion. And what's your opinion, too, Matt?
of all the ensembles. Suicide Squad would also fall in there.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, again, ensemble of
Right.
pulling stuff together. I would probably rate this and Avengers 1 really, really close. If you look at, and I don't mean quality of movie, I'm talking how the characters work together as an ensemble.
Okay.
The writing was stronger in Avengers. I mean, it's all Joss.
Right.
Edited better, characters work better as far as their script and all that. But I think the characters themselves gel better in Justice League. And that could just be because those are characters I like more, but I think they were more balanced. I think you had a much more balanced set of characters who could each hold their own on screen versus half street level and half cosmic level characters in Avengers. So I think the balance is better with Justice League, and the writing and all is better with Avengers. And because I like DC more, I would probably go with the Justice League characters being a better ensemble. Movie, Avengers was a better movie, but just as an ensemble, that I haven't watched Defenders. I'll base on Hard at Work. Nick's here. Facial
Matt.
reaction, Matt.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Nick. Sorry, Matt.
That's
sorry.
fine.
You know what I mean here.
It was bad.
Hard at Work people's face here.
We all look exactly the same. Yeah, no. And I am the Marvel fan, and Defenders was bad.
I didn't finish it.
It was bad.
I want to go back and finish it because I'm like, should I see Punisher first? I love Punisher, but I'm like, I watched 2 or 3 episodes. I'm like, I'm not enjoying this at all, ever. Those
Yeah,
all 3 hours.
Don't
Didn't
watch
enjoy
it. Don't watch it.
So
Don't,
I can
don't
skip
give
that?
them your views, man.
I can skip that and go right to Punisher.
Go straight to Punisher.
Okay.
So, and Suicide Squad, I thought the characters are absolutely perfect in character. I mean, you had Harley Quinn, even Croc and all the rest. I loved all the characters. They had the wrong villain, but I thought they worked well together. Avengers 2, honestly, they worked a little bit better together as a team in Avengers 2 than they did 1. It's just Avengers 2 is a crappy movie compared to 1.
Right.
I mean, compared to Steel, it's a masterpiece. But compared to Avengers 1, it was terrible. But I thought the characters actually worked better together because they'd been in the parts so much longer and had learned to work together really well.
Just to get to the thing, again, we have to review in a second. It was decent. Justice League was decent. I still think compared to the Marvel movies, as far as the ensemble pieces go overall, it's below. I could say it's below every single one of them. I mean, Avengers 1, I think, is my favorite movie of superheroes in general. Besides maybe The Crow. Avengers 2, I thought was considerably better. Cap Civil War was one of the better ones.
Whoa. Ugh. No, okay, sorry.
Civil War is close to a perfect movie, and I won't stand for anything else to be said on this podcast.
I haven't seen Defenders, and I'd put it below Defenders.
Guardians 1 and 2 I thought were better. Now, Defenders, I'll agree if you caught that part of it. I couldn't finish Defenders. I really couldn't. I never enjoyed any of it I saw.
Okay.
Other than the small Daredevil scenes, 'cause I thought Charlie Cox plays Daredevil so well.
So that's the only one you'd put Justice League above.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it's bad. Because, again, those movies I thought were much better.
Yeah.
It was step right direction for Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, to me, I'm sorry, was not a good movie. It was definitely a D movie. So I think that it's in the right place. I do feel that if Whedon did this entire movie,
That'd be
it
very
would have
different.
been so much better.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that so much parts of this movie, especially with Zack Snyder, I could tell what he did it. It just drew me out because the scenes are so long and elaborate. I think if this movie was the same exact movie under Zack Snyder as it is under Joss Whedon, it'd been a 2.5 hour long movie with the same exact scenes. Just very long and drawn out.
According to earlier rumors, his first cut was almost 3 hours. It's like 3 or 4 minutes shy of 3 hours long.
That's painful.
And now that doesn't mean even he wouldn't have cut it down some. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always, every director has a cut that's long and then they
Right.
have to trim it down, Joss including. But, yeah, I would love to see that 3 hour cut.
No, I won't.
At some point. Well, to see what the different vision is. I'd love to see what that vision was, to see, if nothing else, where did Joss improve? And there's the possibility that he screwed something up.
Okay.
There is that possibility. this is a weird example. Do either of y'all ever see Driving Miss Daisy?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
No. Do you mind if I spoil something?
No, you
Driving
go
Miss Daisy?
ahead, it's
Okay.
fine.
I didn't think
Over
you'd
the
mind
new, I
too
think, at
much.
this point.
Yeah. It was based on a play, and the same writer wrote the screenplay that wrote the play. And during the movie, the characters talk about how she goes and works in her husband's grave, but her son would like to have it in perpetual care, which means gardeners and others take care of the gravesite. And she hates that, but she knows her son will have her in perpetual care before she's even cold. The end of the play has Morgan Freeman's character kneeling beside her grave, tending to it.
Okay.
Perfect ending. But the writer came along and he didn't like that and screwed up his own thing. And in the movie, they're not doing that. It's at a nursing home. He's taking care of her instead of the grave. So even the best of stories and best of writers can screw up something. Okay. So I have a feeling Joss probably messed up a scene or two somewhere that I probably thought worked better. But Zach probably screwed up a whole lot more.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he did.
Oh, you looked at me.
for the several pieces.
It would go Avengers. No, it would go Civil War, Avengers. We got like Guardians and Avengers 2. You can switch those out however you want them. And then like down here somewhere, we got Justice League. And then like way down, you got like Suicide Squad and
Defenders?
Defenders is worse than Suicide Squad.
Defenders, I agree. I could at least watch Suicide Squad.
So yeah, I couldn't disagree with you more about your ranking of them. I couldn't put Justice League that close to Avengers, but like you said, you are a huge fan of the DC characters, so that plays into it.
And I'll throw something there. B-Man and I already talked about this, but something that meant more to me, and I won't say I'm the only one. There can be other people in the world who see this movie that had a similar reaction. But Superman's back. Surprise, we already told you spoiler warnings. Anyone who didn't know Superman was going to be in this movie was an idiot anyway. We knew Superman was going to be in it.
Wow, a couple of
Sorry.
idiots.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to. You knew Superman was going to be in this movie.
20 years ago in John Paul. If I can help it.
Sorry. Yeah, that's the way it is. So he's back. He's at the farm. Him and Lois are talking.
CG lip.
Actually, in that scene, I don't think he had the CG lip, did he?
At least one part of that scene he does when they're like,
back and forth,
it's
so him and Lois are talking. He finally gives her a hug after the whole, I wasn't strong enough and so on. And they're hugging, and then suddenly he kind of raises his head up like he heard something. You called Mom. That one got me. Because my mom, over the past couple weeks, has had some health issues and such. And that scene right there, that got to me, which is what I look for in any movie. I don't care whether I'm watching Driving Miss Daisy, Steel, Justice League, Avengers,
That was
or
more
what.
of a timing thing, yes.
I want something that makes me feel something, whether that's happiness, anger, sadness, moving moments, whatever. I want something that makes me feel. That moment in that movie, almost by itself, could have made that movie just incredible for me.
Okay.
So that's nothing that anybody else can get recreated for themselves. It's everybody's gonna have a different reaction on different scenes like that.
sure, yeah.
So let's go to the positives of this movie.
All right.
Because there were a few positives.
Oh yeah.
Let's start from Matt here, because I know you have a big list right for you.
I do.
Okay.
I thought the way they characterized Superman at the end of the movie, like when they bring him back and stuff, was the first time from movies I've seen, and we talked about this before the show started. I haven't seen Superman 1, haven't seen Superman 2, none of that old stuff. But since they've created the DC Extended Universe, this is the first time I saw Superman, was like, oh, yeah, that's Superman. That's how Superman should act. That makes total sense. And not even just from, oh, I'm a Boy Scout and I want to, good is my thing. I want to make sure, I can do everything I can for people. But just from a straight up power level standpoint, this is the first time, you see Superman being very clearly the most powerful person in the room.
Hands down.
Saving the building full of people.
Yeah, exactly.
That
That
scene was
felt
great.
like Superman.
Flying alongside Flash, Slowpoke.
Yeah, exactly. That was cool stuff, and I was excited to see that. It just the back and forth with the characters in general was all pretty good. Except for I felt Aquaman got the short end of the stick. I felt Cyborg got the short end of the stick as far as actual things they said that I remember. Outside of and you dress like a bat. I don't remember anything that Aquaman said that entire movie. Same with Cyborg. If it wasn't in the commercial, I don't remember what he said.
You got to remember at least one thing that went in the commercial, though.
What was that?
Booyah!
Yeah, so I've been told that that's like a thing that he does.
Animated series.
Animated series.
And
yes.
I
The Teen
don't.
Titans animated. Booyah is his kind
And
of
I watched
catchphrase.
that like as a kid, but I guess I don't remember it that well.
That was a Joss Whedon thing thrown in as a fan service deal. I mean,
Yeah, and-
I didn't personally care if it was in there or not. I didn't mind it being in there.
And like I liked Flash. I liked the character they made with Flash for a limited time. Yeah, eventually he wore on me. I was like, all right, I get it. Like this is okay.
Too
But,
much Flash. after a
Yeah,
while.
for the most part, I enjoyed Flash and like this Superman fight scene where he fights everybody. Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
And like that was easily my favorite like
That's
fight
favorite
scene.
scene in the
Yeah,
movie,
probably
absolutely.
just favorite scene in general. Like that was awesome. They showed us a Green Lantern. That was cool.
We got a Green Lantern.
Yes, we did.
Was he an actual guy from the comics, like the one that they show?
No, that was like 5,000 years ago or something. That was
I didn't know if it
That was whoever the Green Lantern at the time
Was that Black Adam in the scene 2 opening scene, shooting the lightning at him?
I don't believe so. I think that was Zeus, I
Okay.
believe. Because it had the Greek gods in there. That was when they said
Probably
the old
right.
gods. It was Greek gods. They did have Ares in there for Wonder Woman. They even gave the actor who played Ares for Wonder Woman credit.
Or did they really?
They might have just used footage they'd filmed from Wonder Woman to
Maybe.
do it, but
Yeah, I mean,
Kinda
just
cool.
I would say just the interplay between the characters and stuff was good. My list of things I didn't like was much longer, but that's not where we're at. So I'm gonna hand that off to
Good look at
somebody
JP.
else.
Go ahead.
all right. A lot of the character moments, I thought Cyborg they nailed perfectly. Would I now at this point want to see a Cyborg movie? Yes. Before this, did I want to see a Cyborg movie? No. Because Cyborg has always been part of the Teen Titans or part of the Justice League or part of another team. Like the character, never. At this point, the actor did a good enough job with what we saw. I think it'd be kind of cool to see a Cyborg movie. Would that be the first one I'd do out of all those? No, absolutely not the first one. But I would go see a Cyborg movie now. I thought he got a lot better treatment than Aquaman.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with the treatment Aquaman got. I just mean as far as volume of what they did with his character. You got more into the emotional state for Cyborg. Aquaman is just there. And Jason Momoa has even been quoted as saying that he actually doesn't like his performance in this that much after having finished filming Aquaman, because like a month before Justice League came out, they finished the last bit of filming for Aquaman, and he said once you get the full story and the depth and the character development, he says watching this is painful because he didn't be like watching the pilot episode after 3 or 4 seasons in of a TV show.
Right.
Sure.
That kind of painful.
He's the strong guy with the trident in this,
Yeah.
but he's like a character in his own thing. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
But yeah, the character interplay, any of the stuff, just like a bat. I can dig it. I liked some of the lines back and forth. They seem to play off of each other really well. You started lightening Batman up a little bit, which, there has been the complaint that Batman has gotten too dark over the years, and Batman even smiled when Superman comes in, still having trouble with this guy, and punches Steppenwolf, and all that kind of stuff. Batman even smiles, which I think he checks himself and realizes I'm not supposed to do that. But,
Yeah. It was a very brief moment. Yeah, it was cool, though. I did like that.
but I like having Batman smile. I like some of the human moments. Him and Alfred talking and how he realizes that Superman's better at leading this because he's more human. Not because he has more powers, but because Superman is actually more human than he is.
I can agree with you on the Batman stuff. I just wish those lines would have been delivered by somebody who wanted to be in that movie. Because Ben Affleck the entire time looks like a guy who didn't want to be there to me. I was like, you were just phoning it in. Everybody else looks like they're having a lot of fun. Not you, though. You look like you didn't want to come in today. Like, every scene, I was like, what are you doing? Like, everybody's so happy. And maybe that's it. Maybe he's as happy as he always is, but everybody else around him is so much happier to play their part that he looks like he's not happy.
It could be what you're saying. Anything I saw like that, I was interpreting it as he was supposed to be playing the character that's been around for quite a few years and is tired. And I was interpreting it more of he was tired, not...
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I feel like Christian Bale, I didn't like him as a Batman, but in, Dark Knight Returns, he plays that Batman that's been around a while and he's beat down from it, but he still looks like he wants to be there. Like, he looks like he embodies that character. Ben Affleck looks like, phoning it in, guys. You're paying me a lot of money, so I'm here. And again, it could be in comparison to Aquaman, who's like, I love being here, or Flash, I love being here. You know, like they all wanted to be those characters they were. Wonder Woman wanted to be that character she was, and he just doesn't look like he wants to be there. To me.
I think Jason Momoa had the most fun with this character. I do think that.
Ah.
And that gives me a lot of hope for next year's Aquaman movie. I think it's going to turn out to be something really cool. I could go on and on about lots of stuff I loved. I'll leave you with this last bit, and that's the music. Hearing the Danny Elfman Batman music 2 or 3 or 4 times when Batman would swing in. You know, at one point he swings down and lands there in front of Commissioner Gordon, and you hear the Batman music. That was great. And the John Williams music when Steppenwolf says, "I'll make you see, a believer in truth," or something, and from behind him, Superman, "I'm also a big fan of justice." And you turn and dun 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 dun.
Yeah, that kind of fired me up a little bit. I ain't gonna lie.
Hearing the real music, that was
always
great.
bothered me that Snyder wouldn't use that
Yeah.
for Man of Steel. It was a whole new character in this, and I'm like, I don't care. The music's still so iconic.
Yeah,
Keep the music.
yeah.
It's John Williams, first of all.
Hey, but isn't that kind of the reason why you don't do it? Because he was making a Superman that was so different. Like, this music sets you up for the Superman that you get it in the Justice League. Because he is more in line with Superman. Man of Steel Superman was not Superman. So, like, I get it, him not wanting to use it. But, sure, whatever. It doesn't mean anything to me because, I don't know.
The thing is, I was raised in those movies. I think that when I heard that music, it used to fire me up so much. I don't know. I was happy to hear that.
Yeah.
But
So what about you?
You guys pretty much nailed it for me. So I really can't add any more than you guys already have. I can't add anything to that.
Well, I want to ask before we get to the negatives, because
Yeah.
there's negatives.
Yes.
I want to add one more positive thing in the 2 post-credit scenes. I think both of those were great. I do, but one is a comedy and one is a setup for future. But a nice touch. I mentioned to you yesterday, Matt. Got the name right this time. You noticed. There you go.
that's me.
You pay his salary, John Paul. I hope you know his name.
Yeah, it's just a callback to a few moments ago. Callbacks are fun. Lex Luthor's suit is the same one he was wearing, or not he was wearing, but that Lex Luthor was wearing when Gene Hackman played him.
Would you say that's a callback?
That would be a callback.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Callback crazy in here.
Or an homage. Maybe
See,
it's an homage.
I'm actually going with the positives and negatives for the future scenes. I enjoyed the Superman Flash race.
Yes.
That's been acknowledged so many times in the comics. People always questioned. They're not going to answer it ever.
Yeah.
Like this
Although
one.
they had him on the wrong side. Superman's always on the left and Flash is on the right.
I
They
actually.
reversed it.
But anyways, that's because they looked that way and he pointed that way.
Actually, that's not something I would ever have picked up on. That was something I read in some review that talked about, and they went through every cover of every race they've ever done, and like out of 10 different ones, like 9 of them, they're in a different order on screen. But who cares? I don't care.
It was cool though. I think Flash is faster personally, but that's just me. The last credit scene, because I remember I looked at you during the credits, like, okay, well, waiting to have the scene to come. I said they don't have the trademark bad guy. They don't have it. Marvel has Loki. Loki is the trademark villain so far in these movies. They wait a couple minutes, and I waited a couple minutes. Still don't have that trademark bad guy. I do not like
You
Jesse.
didn't get to do him much.
Now,
but-
Deathstroke, I'm excited for. I like
Right,
Deathstroke
right.
a lot. My wife loves Mike Mignola as she loves him from True Blood. I do not even remotely like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
That's your problem.
Not even a little bit. Not even a tiny bit. I mean,
Not even like if that was the only scene you'd ever seen him in. Say you had never seen him in any other scene and had no idea how he was going to play the character.
just because I watched how he played in Batman v Superman, I was so, and it wasn't his fault. He's a fantastic actor, but he was so off. The character was so off from what I imagined Lex Luthor to be. That killed the credit scenes.
Although I will say, this scene he played it very differently than he did in Batman vs Superman.
I know, but he's already been established as being that annoying
Yeah.
character in Batman.
See, even that, like, leading into the scene, his cell opens up. There's a gentleman standing in his cell, but you don't see who it is
Right.
because he's got his back or whatever. Even that already had messed that scene up. Because I think Legion of Doom could be cool. Like, I'm into that. Sell me on that. But, like, they turn the guy around and he, like, cackles. And it's just like, this is so comic book, so cartoon that it's too much. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I was like, this is too much. And then he's like, we should form a league of our own. And I'm like, oh, God, that hurt my heart.
That's because it's the Injustice League. It's not the Legion of Doom.
Well, okay, yeah.
Legion of Doom is the enemy, is the Super Friends and Legion of Doom.
Sure.
But since this is not the Super Friends, this is the Justice League.
if they're under the ocean, John Paul, that head comes off the ocean. I don't care. That's
Yeah, I
not-
just
I
it was
know,
just
I know.
it was too cheesy. Like it was a cool concept, and they could have sold me on it, but it was so cheesy. I was like, ugh.
I could have almost guaranteed that was all Joss Whedon, that final scene, except somebody's posted online 2 years ago. Zack Snyder was actually being interviewed and was working on a storyboard and showed off the storyboard, and it was almost that exact scene. Small boat coming up to the yacht, Deathstroke walking up, taking off the mask, Lex Luthor sitting there. No words, so the words could have been written by Joss Whedon.
Right.
That scene was actually a Zack Snyder scene completely.
I was just hoping they would get rid of Eisenberg and realize he was mistaken and move on with their lives, and they do not do that.
Yeah, for a split second when they turn the guy around and he's a gentleman, older gentleman, I'm like, huh. Did they Oh nope, they didn't recast him. It's because I was hoping they'd be like, this is Father Luthor, and Eisenberg was Luthor
Actually,
Jr.
yeah, maybe
or
they should
something.
have gone Lionel Luthor as the being a man. I would have been cool with
I
that.
still want Clancy Brown to be Luthor.
Well, that's great.
He was the voice in the animated series.
Sure, yeah,
He's good.
absolutely. I don't.
Do you know that?
You watched the animated
I do, but I don't know
Superman,
that guy. I don't know.
He
Oh,
ever see
Pet
Highlander?
Cemetery, right?
Was he in Pet Cemetery?
Yes,
I
he
believe he
was the
was.
general that fought Grodd in the Flash.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
all
yeah,
right.
he was
Pet
in Pet
Cemetery.
Cemetery.
Okay.
Ah.
It's been
I
a
forgot
long
about
time.
That's also a callback to
Because you
Justice League.
Because you had
when they
Herman
talk about
Munster in
Justice-
Pet Cemetery.
I totally forgot about Pet Cemetery.
Yeah,
Wow.
Pet Cemetery is
Okay,
dope.
we're good with that
They
one.
talk about Pet Cemetery in Justice League. This all ties
Yes.
together.
Yeah, it does.
They did.
It does. That was some cool lines. Oh, Pet Cemetery, Pet Cemetery.
So
Yeah.
let's go negatives
Okay.
because there were a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
There
any
were.
more positives to that,
A
or
few more.
No,
than a few.
well, there's plenty, but no,
Yeah,
we can
okay.
go to the negatives.
You want to start off?
Oh man, sure, yeah. I'll start it
again.
off.
You the one with the list.
2 or 3. Let's start with 2.
Okay, I'm gonna
Make sure we
start
go
with
around.
I'm gonna start with a few then of 3, like you said. There are
Well, I
con-
want to give B-Man a chance to have some negatives, and I don't want you to steal them all. See?
there are continuity problems inside the movie itself already. For one, Jason Momoa. Aquaman's like, I'm just gonna tell these guys you're Batman. That's cool, right? And he's just outing him as Batman. They talk about cyborgs, the mother box waking up after Superman dies, but the mother box is what they created Cyborg from, so that didn't make sense. It was just like there were weird scene cuts and stuff, and it was just like this, and it's probably a product of those two directors. You know, like the way some of the things are cut together do make it seem like Batman fights a villain on the rooftop at the very beginning, switches to another rooftop, but then the villain is on that rooftop now to have that
I
whip
noticed that,
behind him, and I'm
actually.
like, I don't understand.
I watched that because I was worried about that the first time I watched it. It's like, how do you do that? If you watch it, the parademon circles around. He does come back because you see enough scenes while he's in the air. When the camera cuts to above, you can see the rooftop that he left from that has the villain on it. It does circle around back to the same one. I thought exactly the same thing, but I watched
this
for
guy
that.
hopped over to the next building.
But
yeah.
I watched for that when I watched it the second time because it bothered me the first time. No, the parademon, he does.
Okay.
Oh, he doesn't necessarily steer it, but
Okay.
he comes back to the same roof.
Okay.
Another thing so you give me crap all the time about Civil War's plot, and you're like, oh, it doesn't make any sense. But talk about a plot in a movie that is horrible. Horrible. The parademon blows up for whatever reason. Maybe so they can't be interrogated, so he can't talk about Steppenwolf
Can they talk
or
at
whatever.
all? Can parademons
I don't.
talk?
I don't know. But when he does blow up, he literally gives Batman more information than he ever would have if he hadn't died, because he blows up and leaves a map on the wall of like the cubes, and it's like, why would that even happen? That was a bad like plot device just to move it
That was
forward.
dumb. Yes.
And I was like,
That's-
that doesn't make any sense.
That was
Oh,
dumb.
God.
There's no question.
And they do a few more things like that, like all the heroes fight, and they leave the box over here on this car, and they're
Yes.
just like, oh, you can have that, Steppenwolf. We don't want it anymore.
Several
It's-
people have pointed that one out, and I read the reviews between the first and second watching
Sure.
because all the reviews I kept reading kept saying they left it alone for 12 minutes, 12 minutes, 12 minutes, on and on and on, which is probably how much time was on the Human Watch sitting in the theater
Sure.
from the time they left. However, during that entire time, Superman blasts out, throws the box somewhere.
Okay.
They don't necessarily know where. They immediately go to check, is Superman okay? Is it Pet Cemetery? What's going on? And they're kind of involved in a fight for the next several minutes and have no chance to go get the box. The minute the fight ends, before they can even react, the box goes away.
And I hear you on that front.
John Paul's
and that
in
would
defense
be a
right now.
valid way to explain that away if you didn't have a guy that could move so fast that a raindrop doesn't make it from his head to his toes.
yeah,
You just
yeah.
run over there and grab
That's
the
true,
box.
that's
It's
true.
just and it's fine. Like, sure, whatever. Just don't have that as two different scenes. Like, you have a fight scene, the fight scene ends, and then you have a scene where the tube, what is it, boom tube?
The boom tube.
The boom tube comes down and he steals the box. Like, if you just mush those together, then you can sell it to me like, oh, they were distracted. But instead, you have this scene, and then the next scene is the boom tube. It's like, again, could be that editing problem of having multiple
Could
people
be.
and how they throw it together and stuff.
It could be.
And it's just, in general, like, the plot itself was very, very weak. And
It was very basic. It was very basic. That's why I compared it to the animated. You had evil guy from Apocalypse, wants to get the 3 mother boxes, destroy the Earth, or turn it into a copy of Apocalypse. Superheroes have to stop him. That's the basic plot. Unlike Civil War, not to get too much on that, but unlike Civil War, where the entire bad guy's plot was, all these things have to happen in a certain order that I have no control on, or my plot doesn't work.
no, that's not how. We're not getting into
Yeah,
Civil
we're
War.
not getting into
We're
that.
not getting into Civil War. But even, like, I'm just saying the plot in general was bad because the superheroes kept making bad choices. Like, even just the choice to go dig up the box that Steppenwolf didn't know where it was so you could bring back Superman didn't make sense. It was like, hey, he doesn't know where this box is. Let's go get it. Let's go get it for him, guys. How about that? And then we'll let him come just have it.
And because
Like,
we are in a time frame, can we post his list on Twitter feed? Because this is actually, I'm just looking through it right now. It's very impressive.
It's-
like, he did homework for this.
okay, that was I think that was 2, but you can go ahead. You can,
Well, my big thing is, similar to how you are with Spider-Man, was these aren't the characters I know from comics. These aren't DC characters. I can't back you on that one. This Aquaman is not the Peter David Aquaman. I read some of that stuff before we started. He's not.
He came across that way to me.
He's very surfer dude. He actually more like Namor from Jay Lee for Marvel for a while.
Yeah.
I read this Peter Davis. I don't see it.
Okay.
I see a wild guy, yeah, but I mean he's tattooed. He's just dude, right on. Like no, that's not that.
Updated for 2017. But yeah, okay.
This Batman is not Batman.
Plus, he's worthless.
He's really not, and he is worthless. But my favorite character in any comics in general was worthless in this movie.
That's funny because I don't mean to interrupt you, but you said earlier you're kind of bagging on Avengers for like having that spectrum, so they had useless characters, and then you were like, oh, this is well balanced. It's well balanced except for Batman is useless, and Flash is useless, and Cyborg is useless.
Well, I'm gonna flash in a sec.
Well, I don't know about
Just the whole beginning part.
Okay, let him finish.
The whole beginning thing is okay. The guy's escaping. That was the first scene. I guess guy broke into whatever, stole something.
He was stealing stuff from an
whatever
apartment
to make a
somewhere.
difference. Yeah. That guy managed to see Batman, which we never ever see in the comics. You'd never see Batman coming. Then managed to get his gun pulled out and get a couple shots of Batman. That would never ever happen in any comics, in any cartoon, nothing. Batman has a guy disarmed and tied up before the guy even knows to hit him. That is not Batman. And I don't know how you guys feel. I kind of want your opinion on this one. If Batman was not part of that last battle, would the outcome have been exactly the same?
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't think he made a big difference. He made a big difference. In the
He
entire
brought
movie.
down the shield at the beginning.
and which Flash would have done himself.
Somebody had to bring it down. Yes, he brought it down. He did get all the parademons pulled away from the central core. It takes them a while to all come back. But otherwise, if you'd had what do you think?
You are totally
500
defensive. I love this. 500
500 parademons all in the middle of that battle. One, it wouldn't be fun to watch. I mean,
Right.
think about it. It wouldn't be fun. It's part of why I don't like watching football versus I do like baseball. I want to focus on kind of 1 or 2 people at a time. I don't want 500 all in a battle.
I get you.
So having the parademons elsewhere and having a reason to have the parademons elsewhere.
But that was
made
really
sense.
the only reason he was in that movie, which is to get parademons away from everybody else. He really served, like in the comics especially. I was always impressed. The reason I always loved Batman was the fact that when he stayed next to Wonder Woman and Superman and Flash and Green Lantern, he's a major threat.
Oh yeah.
In the movie, he was not a threat to me at all. Never once would he come up as a threat.
But here's one reason that he was in the movie. It really is. Here's one reason.
Defensive, yes.
Yeah, one reason.
They put the group together.
Would anybody be together if he didn't put them all together into a group?
Right.
No, not at all.
Okay, well, again,
That's kind of important.
he was a wasted character in this, and that's unfortunate because he is my favorite character. And that's what really upset me about this movie. Now, there were editing problems that even pointed out. My wife actually pointed out at the very beginning. Wonder Woman coming to see Batman. You make a point to see her high heels and that kind of stuff. And a second later, she's not wearing them.
Wasn't a second later. It was some time later. I heard her say that. She was just in high heels. Yeah, that was like an hour ago.
No, if she changed somewhere, I mean, they were in the same exact clothes jump off.
I can say that part.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
She had
Okay.
more change
Okay.
of clothes than Barbie does.
Okay.
She changes in every single scene,
Let's
which
get,
is ridiculous.
Let's get out of your defensive mode here for a second.
She does. She changes
I'm
everywhere.
just going to cut down to
I'm
3.
agreeing on that
I'm going to
part.
cut down to 3. And I think you guys might disagree with me in this one. I'm going to go over the top on this one. Flash is DC's version of Jar Jar Binks. He was so annoying by the end of that movie. I'm sorry. Beginning, he wasn't that bad. But then it was, oh, this is so cool, this is cool. What do you do? Listen, it just got, I was like, oh my God, I can't stand you anymore. I can't do it. I want to go through the TV and strangle you.
I think it's incredibly funny that all the early reviews, the people who are not the comic crowd,
Right.
they were talking about what to expect from this movie and everything else. They were making their estimates and predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody kept saying that Flash would be the standout character, the one that everybody loved. And it could be the general audience does.
My daughter loved him. Favorite character for her.
He was the only part of the movie I did not like. Now, within that setting, they wrote good lines for him. He acted them well. Ezra Miller, just the facial expressions, like when they're battling Superman. And
Though that scene was great.
hey,
When Superman turns his eyes and that
so
was an awesome scene.
whether you like the character or not, Ezra Miller played him great. I mean, for what he was supposed to be, he played him great. That was not Barry Allen.
No,
the
not at
same
all.
way I didn't like Spider-Man for this summer. That was not Peter Parker. This is not Spider-Man, or
See,
this is not Flash.
Not getting
or
into
Barry
Spider-Man too
Allen.
much, that was Peter Parker. I'm sorry, that was
Yeah.
exactly the Spider-Man I know from the comics. Exactly.
But this, to me, this was not Barry Allen.
Um,
Barry Allen is supposed to be a scientist, very boring, very reserved, very intelligent, known for always being late and slow and everything else.
And never living in a garage. Or
Yeah, that was just so
that was
high.
not Flash at
His
all.
own bat cave. He had a bat cave.
He had a Flash cave.
Flash came.
My bad.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I literally, at the end of the movie, he's making his lines. I'm done with you. I'm so done with you. Go away.
Yeah, I was very glad by the end of the movie that the only one that has completely fallen apart, and who knows if they'll ever make it, is the Flash movie. It's gone through like 3 directors now, and
Yeah.
it's still nowhere. I don't want them to make a Flash movie about that Flash.
Now that being said, Cavallo, it was a Cavallo. I think you say his name.
I don't know if it's Cavill or Cavill. I have no idea which way it is.
Cavill.
Kiddo.
Cavill.
Both those characters, Superman and Wonder Woman, were so spot on. They were so spot on. And one more just negative here. They really we knew Superman comes back. To me, at least, they seem like they really just pushed his resurrection. It's like, oh, these things have this power. Let's resurrect him. I would have done so much different direction with the resurrection of Superman.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
mean
did
you
not-
wouldn't have made the heroes literally dig his body up?
No, I would have felt so
who,
much better.
Who wrote that and was like, "That's a good idea.
I would
Let's
have
put
felt
that
so
on
much better if
screen."
the boxes just exploded and somehow that resurrected him.
And the thing is,
It
because
seemed
of
like
how
it was so forced.
because of how big a part of the movie that was, I don't think that was Joss changing that. That had to be part of Snyder's
It had to
idea.
be part of his thing.
Thing is, Snyder wrote Batman vs Superman, or co-wrote everybody, and included the heartbeat at the very end.
It just
Right.
makes no sense.
So those two don't. You're right. Those two don't connect. I was really expecting dig. Great scene. Flash and Cyborg digging. Hey, where are the mistakes? That was a good scene. The 2 actors did a good job in the graveyard doing the body stealing scene. Thump. Hey, there's the thing. They lift it out, and there's no body inside. That's what I was expecting.
I'd have been happier. I know how you escaped
That would have been way better. Yeah.
That was so hard with me. That was really a
That would have been better to have had him just resurrect on his own.
right. And then we can get into more. I know you have a huge.
No. I mean,
Well,
don't let me
my-
take up all the time.
Well, my big negative was Flash. That was my main one. Second one I've already talked about, and we talked enough of the Flash part, but the rough edits and such, I just thought there were a lot of scenes that did not flow well back and forth, like the janitor being taken.
Yeah.
It was a really rough cut to go from one scene back to that. Okay, we saw the janitor a minute ago, and then we go and have a good scene, and then cut back for the 6 seconds to show the janitor being taken.
Yeah.
That was really rough.
Right.
That was
yeah.
bad.
I'm with you.
So some of those rough cuts in that first bit of the movie was probably the biggest negative outside of the Flash. And then just some of the continuity from Batman vs Superman to this, things they changed, like Superman should have come back differently. Should have. There's no question.
We both agreed that Wonder Woman standing on top of the statue, that was definitely Zack Snyder.
That's Zack Snyder.
That was
looked good.
That was a cool piece, though, I thought.
I bet it was 3 times
You like that?
longer.
No.
I like
Well,
that.
I bet it was 3 times longer
Oh, absolutely.
in Zack's Snyder's cut.
And I'm
Right.
glad. I feel bad for what happened to him. Snyder's not a bad guy. I feel so horrible for what happened to him, but I'm glad he's out of the mix.
Yeah, he will not make another DC movie. I don't think.
No, I hope he does. I really don't.
I don't see how they'll ever give him another one.
Anything else for final?
I mean, I personally, I don't. Y'all haven't said this, so I don't know how you felt about it. But I didn't think the CGI was very good in the movie.
Oh, actually, I wanted to bring that up as well. My wife brought it up that it did seem CGI. It seemed maybe 10 years ago CGI, where it just seemed so obvious it was CGI.
There
Especially,
were only two things to me that came out across the CGI, because you just know it doesn't exist in the real world. It's Cyborg's body,
Right.
but it looks like Cyborg looks in the comics right now, so that didn't bother me. It's like they got the look right.
I get to think RoboCop looks better than Cyborg. But anyways,
But it's a different
Yeah.
type of body, and I was okay with Cyborg's body. It's obviously CGI, but they weren't trying to hide it because that's just
Right.
what it is. The other is the villain is 100% CGI, which I didn't realize it until earlier today when I was looking at the news. Mance Rayder, the villain is Mance Rayder from Game of Thrones.
Huh.
I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who plays Mance.
gotcha. Yeah.
And when you see a picture of his face next to Steppenwolf's face, they actually did a pretty good mapping
Did not realize
of
that.
that.
Good to know.
So just as a nice little side thing, but even though Steppenwolf is very clearly CGI throughout the entire movie, they didn't hide it. They didn't stick it in just a little corner somewhere at the end of the movie, like Ares and Wonder Woman.
But when he done
He's
with
the
Hulk
whole
is
thing.
done, where pretty much Mark Ruffalo is the Hulk in
Yeah.
those scenes and just copy over him. I don't know. I just didn't.
Well, they did they did the motion capture stuff
Did
for
they?
it. Yeah.
I just felt. I don't know. I felt there was a lot of CGI wasn't. As
And
good.
it wasn't even that. Like, I wasn't hung up on Steppenwolf because, yeah, obviously he's CGI. It's like that Batman scene when he's on the roof and then you see the backdrop and it looks like one of the fake old Hollywood backdrops. I'm like, that looks bad. Or like the scene where Flash is running to touch the mother box as it touches the water. Like, there's no texture on anything. Like, just in general, the movie, it looks like if you go back to Avengers, the first Avengers, when Hulk and Thor are on the back of that flying thing. Like, the first time you see that, it looks good. You go back and watch that now, it doesn't look very good. Things are a little janky, the way they move and stuff, and, like, this looks like that.
And those probably don't bother me as much. Just I care more about what's going on in the story. Kind of like in comics, I've really never cared that much about who the artist is in a book. I have artists I love, like George Perez, and yes, Jim Lee does a much better Batman than, say, Howard Chaykin or something. But I've always cared more about the story. As long as I was enjoying the story, I didn't really care as long as the art was fine.
I'm
Fine
kinda
is
with
good
you there.
enough.
I'm kinda with
So
you.
I don't really
Okay.
think that much about the CGI part. Even so far as back, y'all probably never seen the original Superman serials from the 1940s. I know you don't see old
You know,
stuff.
no, you're not that old, John Paul. You definitely not that old.
No, but I've loved watching those.
Well, you and I are pretty close in age, at least.
Yeah, but I love going back and watching those.
Okay.
I had an old videotape for a while and DVDs and such. And in one of the two, I don't remember if it was in Superman or Adaman versus Superman, but in one of them, in order to have him fly, they would have Kirk Allen, pull off the glasses, rip apart the shirt so you'd see the Superman symbol, and then duck behind a big boulder or duck behind the corner of a building or something. And then out would come flying a very clearly hand-drawn animated Superman. And he'd fly to wherever he's going and land behind something, and then Kirk Allen would step out in the full Superman outfit. And they just decided, we're not going to do stupid strings. We're not going to make it look cheesy. People know somebody can't fly. Who cares? We're just going to do animated. Never bothered me.
Okay.
I've always thought it was just kind of cool that they just, almost like when Bobby comes back and they reboot an entire season of Dallas. We screwed up last season, so Bobby's alive. And he steps out of the
Never watched
shower.
Dallas.
Yeah, but when a producer or director or somebody is willing to admit, this is just the way things are, deal with it.
Okay.
It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I mean, I can get behind that, but when other movies that are on the market are using just as much CGI and they just look better, like, that just bothers me. You know what I mean? Like, I hear what you're saying. Like, does that stuff really matter? No, you understand that this is a fight scene or whatever. There's a bunch of stuff moving, but when Thor comes out in the same month and the CGI and it is like noticeably better, right? Like, or am I
Well,
just tripping?
I do wonder on the Thor, because you're right, it looks cleaner and better. How much of that is because it's better, which could be, and how much of it is because it's almost all in a very alien world, so you don't have reality layered with it.
I mean,
very much.
there may be
Some of it.
something to that But like that red scene at the end where they're fighting all the parademons looks bad. Like that looks
really?
like when, and it's just like the physics of how the people are moving too. Like when Aquaman is on the guy and he's surfing through the building or whatever. Like the way that frame of a person they use, he looks weird, and it just like
The whole person is CGI, right?
yeah,
there,
exactly. And it looks like if you go back and watch The Matrix, the first time like Neo does like a flying kick or something,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that doesn't look quite right. So I don't know.
Just okay, I know we're running out of time here.
Yeah.
We've had all the superhero movies of 2017, correct? Everyone's been.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. We're finished for the year.
Yeah, the only thing left is Star Wars.
Not the last question of the day, because I have another one for that. But what was the best superhero movie this year? Is that you, JP?
Best made was Wonder Woman. The one that I enjoyed the most, honestly, was Justice League.
And that's what I said it would
I
be.
enjoyed it.
I actually told you that would be there a
Yeah,
couple weeks ago. Yeah.
just pure.
Okay.
I'm having fun watching it. But Wonder Woman, by far, I think, was the best made. And the other ones that came out, just to make sure we were
Spider-Man, Logan.
Spider-Man, Logan,
Thor.
Thor, Justice League, Wonder Woman. It seems like there's one we're forgetting that I'm.
If we're forgetting it,
There's an
nobody's
X-Men movie,
picking
isn't
it.
there?
Yeah, X-Men probably. All right, no,
Was
because
there?
that was just Logan, right?
That was next. I guess what? I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, Deadpool.
It
No,
was
that
last
was
year.
Was it
year,
last year?
right? Yeah.
Okay, so maybe there wasn't another one this year then.
Okay.
I mean, hands down, the best superhero movie this year was Spider-Man, right?
I honestly think so.
Yeah, hands down, like easily. I can get
would
down
say
with you on that.
easily. I would say Wonder Woman is just as good. Spider-Man's a little better.
That's ridiculous. That's a crazy thing to say, sir.
It's not. I mean, Wonder Woman was great, other than the fact that it really was a Captain America.
In case you
ripoff.
couldn't hear Hard at Matt whispering, he was saying that he really thinks Justice League was the best, but he don't want to admit it.
No, that's
Justice League
ridiculous.
is. I haven't seen Thor yet. I have not seen Thor yet. When I saw them both, I enjoyed both Wonder Woman and Spider-Man. The reason I say Spider-Man's better is the fact that I watched them both the second time, and Spider-Man's hands down the better one. Just the fact that I can keep watching over and over again.
Yeah.
At any scene, I'll watch it. Wonder Woman does drag at times, and it really felt like a Captain America ripoff to me.
That end of Wonder Woman is what kills it for me. Like when she fights Ares, and I'm just like, oh, I'm checking out. This doesn't look good. This is stupid.
That was bad, but up
I
to
don't
that point,
get
it was
any
really
of it.
good. Her crossing the No Man's Land
No
was
Man's Land.
awesome. Hands down, that was an amazing scene. Spider-Man was, in general, I think, a better movie. Was the best movie of the year for superheroes.
Nice. High five right here.
We're giving it
Woo!
that.
Now,
All right.
best movie of the year, we don't know what. Take the
We're-
word superhero out. We don't know yet.
We're gonna have Harder Work in Comic Book Brian come on, and we'll do one big year review.
Yeah, because we got Star Wars Last Jedi still to come.
Right.
There's a good chance that ends up being the top movie of the year. I mean, there's a good
Is
chance.
Spider-Man going to be in it?
What?
The
Star Wars,
Last
no,
Jedi?
he
no,
won't-
No,
he won't
it
be in
won't
it.
be.
I'm pretty sure it
no,
won't be Last
it
Jedi.
won't be the
And,
best.
and there's a lot of
Although
movies.
they own the properties, maybe.
It's true.
But there's a lot of movies, that were not superhero movies that.
Mine isn't, as of right now, mine's it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I
I
loved
liked it a
making
lot too. Yeah, I'm with you there.
But again, we'll talk about that as
Yeah.
we get
But
closer.
we
to
got
December.
Coco coming out this week. Wonder came out last weekend. It actually did
Right.
much higher than expected. Wonder looks really, really good. Murder on the Orient Express was okay.
You saw it?
Saw that. It was
You
okay.
didn't invite me.
I was in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I just couldn't have invited me.
Yeah, I could have.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have invited him to that.
I might
Valerian.
have flown to Vegas to see you.
Now, not superhero, but comic book. There was Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets.
That
I enjoyed it.
It bombed so fast. I
It
couldn't-
bombed
yeah.
so bad because they marketed it so wrong. But it was actually a fun movie.
I'm still sticking with it right now. It was such a great movie. But again, we
Yeah,
overtime
we're
on
over.
that.
So, do you have a B-Man question of the week for next time?
Yeah, and with superheroes here. Just George Akai posted this on his Facebook a couple hours ago, or probably last night at this point. What was the greatest superhero opening when you first saw the character for the first time? Like Superman coming out of the rescue Lois from the helicopter
Yeah,
crash.
those kind of things.
What was just
Where you see the
that
hero,
was, the hero
for
for
his
the first
opening
time,
scene.
and just fired you up. Like this was great. This was the opening scene for this hero. What was the best in your opinion?
Yeah. Okay. So
Matt,
for
you
next
can answer
time.
right now if you want to.
Yeah, if you want to.
Probably the first time Spider-Man actually swings through in the original Sam Raimi one.
Okay.
I remember seeing that in the theater as a little kid and being like, "This is amazing. This is the best thing I've
When
ever
he's chasing
seen."
the guy who killed Uncle Ben, that part, or
No, the very first opening, with the first time he is actually
Okay.
Spider-Man,
Yeah,
and
that was
his first swing through the city. I'm like, yeah, okay.
I actually thought he'd go somewhere else. Since you don't like older movies, but from Spider-Man forward,
Mm-hmm.
I honestly thought you'd go with Nightcrawler in the X-Men.
That was
2.
Takai's pick.
Yeah,
that was
that was
mine
cool.
for a while.
That was pretty cool.
I might change right now, but yeah, we're
Yeah.
good.
I know which one I'm going with. I'll answer next time, but I
Okay.
know which one I'm going with. All right, so for John Paul,
B-Man.
Oh, hard at work, Matt.
these are the old Titans +1, and we're out of here. You can't see us, but we're dancing.
No, you did.
Okay, I'm dancing by myself.
Dancing by